Alright, so I thought I'd do another aquaponics update since it's been towards the end of the growing season now. The tomatoes did really well. I had a random couple of sunflowers come up from last year. You can see actually a nice monarch. Tomatoes did really well. I'm still picking them. I've picked quite a bit, and I'm going to do another batch here and show you. You can see them all hanging down here. This basil in here did really well. That's all basil, and you can see I've got little cucumbers here coming in. They actually came out of the system, and they're doing pretty good. They're about the same as the one I had planted in the ground, so not any better, but haven't had to water those ones at all. I had a nice sunflower that popped up. It all together went pretty well. I had an issue a couple weeks ago with oxygen dropping in my fish tanks all of a sudden. So I did a little clean out real quick. With that clean out, it seemed to have helped. I haven't had any issues with the oxygen yet. I'll take you underwater and show you what the fish look like. They seem to be getting bigger. So the tanks look good. They're a little dirty, a little algae filled. A lot of my snails died. I think they were helping keep the algae down a lot. But we have my lettuce. Did have an issue with this. I let it grow up, and when I let it grow up, that styrofoam soaked in a lot of the water and started to break apart, and it didn't have very good structure. So that kind of fell apart, but I let it go, and I have a nice basil plant over there in the back. That little leaf basil that I got that started from a sprout, or a clipping. And I have about 3 or 4 frogs that are living in here full time. So they're keeping the bug situation down a little bit. These leeks are doing really well next to the system. What else do we got? Got the basil and the nutrient flow did pretty well this year. You can see it's late season and it's seeded, so the leaves are pretty curly. But tomatoes definitely did the best. I can show you here at the sheer amount of roots and taproots that these things sent out trying to reach the water. They're underneath is black, but they were sending out more because the moisture was so high. But I mean, pretty hefty plants. I didn't water a single time. You can see they're falling off on the ground. Didn't water them a single time, obviously, because they're in the aquaponics system, and didn't prop them up this year. I just let them hang, and they seem to do pretty well. Got a whole bunch of them in here, a whole bunch of them down there. So I'll pick those and show you how many I get from there. They seem to do a little bit better than those ones I had planted just on the ground. Same thing. I tried not to water these any. The color's not bad. They're a little smaller, but it was definitely a good year for tomatoes here. So we'll see next year if the tomatoes do as well in the aquaponics system or not. What else we got? My automatic fish feeder is doing well. The system hasn't stopped working. It had it feeding a little too much, I think. When I went on vacation, I set it to feed a little more, and then didn't unset it, so it was putting too much feed, so I readjusted it, and it's good to go now. It's been running by itself without me like messing with anything for maybe 4 or 5 weeks now. Haven't touched anything. I every once in a while drain out the radio flow filter up here, but other than that, haven't touched anything. Haven't adjusted any of the valves. One thing I do show you is why I like having the sunflowers is it really attracts the pollinators in. So I have a couple nice bumblebees in here on these sunflowers. That really helps with the vegetable output as well. And just a little extra encouragement for them to come over here. Here's another one there. And see if I can get the same thing with these Mexican sunflowers. Just try to get as many pollinators as I can over here. But as you can see, it worked out pretty well. Don't know what I'm going to do for winter yet, how I'm going to keep the fish. I don't know if they're quite buried in enough. To let them just winter over in the system. I'll definitely have to pull plumbing, stop the water flow from all the smaller pipes. Those will definitely freeze. But I can't decide if I'm just going to insulate this whole box or if I'm going to find somewhere else to move the fish temporarily, maybe inside my greenhouse, and put a couple barrels in there and just have them in there until the spring thaw, at least until they're able to come out here without freezing over. But we'll see. I'll have to mess with it, and hopefully the fish make it until next year. Like I said, I'll try to figure out some other solution for it, because I know they're not going to be able to make it just the way they are. And here's one of the fish from the aquaponics system. You can see they've gotten a lot bigger. Definitely not big enough to eat just yet, but I mean, that's way bigger than when I put them in there. Good looking fish, seem pretty healthy. Pretty good looking fish. Back in. So here's the tomatoes. I did notice the ones on the ground had a few more blights on them, but also the yellow is not coming through before they fall off. The ones in the aquaponics system turn a little darker before they fall off. See, like this guy. But altogether, not bad for like the third, fourth harvest we've gotten off here, plus whatever we take for dinner every night. So, pretty good production for that little of an area.